Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Gail, and today we're going to do a morning flow. This is geared more towards those of you who are a little bit more advanced, that want maybe a little bit more challenge, even though we're going to be trying to warm up all different parts of our body after we've been sleeping and not moving too much, wanting to get things moving. Remember to tune into your breath, and remember to listen to your body, and if something doesn't feel right, modify, don't do it. You can always, the beauty of these videos is you can stop the video and watch something if you don't quite understand what I'm showing you. And really, please feel free to ask any questions in the comments below, and let's get started. So close your eyes and tune into your breath. You really want to feel a ebb and flow. So there's a big lifting on the inhale as your diaphragm floats down. And there's a softening and releasing on the exhale as the diaphragm releases and floats back up. So if you're barely breathing at all, you probably won't feel this movement, but if you really engage with your breath, focus on these sensations, tuning into the subtler movements, and you'll find a whole world of wonder with the breath. So powerful. Now open your eyes. And bring your right knee on top of your left knee so that you're cradling your right ankle in the inside of your left arch. Take a big inhale, reach your arms up, and stay tall as you twist to your right. Inhale back through center. Exhale, bring your left hand to the floor and arc your hips up. Really stretching up that top hip. Lower the hips back down and twist. We'll do that 2 more times. So keep tall as you lift. You can go into a little bit of back bend here if you'd like. Lower the hips down and twist. 1 more time. Inhale, reach up and open. Open your heart. Open your mind. So it's kind of metaphorical as well as physical. And then just flip your legs. So we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So inhale, twist to your left. Exhale, open up. Reach up. Your heart and your hips. Exhale, lower down. Nice gentle twist. Inhale, reach up. You could even straighten your top leg if you wanted to. And exhale, lower down. 1 more time. Inhale, reach up. Maybe you feel like you're getting a little more open. And exhale, lower down. Let's come onto our hands and knees and tabletop. And let's stretch out the wrists. So point your fingers towards your knees and begin to rock forward and back. Nice, gentle rocking motions. Good. And then we're going to flip our hands. Keep the fingers spreading nice and wide. Hands shoulder width apart and rock forward and back. So walk slowly enough that you can really feel this stretch. So beneficial, so important as we do our down dogs and our planks and all these other poses that are weight bearing on our hands. Sit back on your heels, shake it out, cross your wrists and release the fingers. And roll your arms in and out. And then cross the opposite wrist on top with the opposite pinky finger on top and back and forth. And come onto your hands and knees and a little cat-cow. So moving slowly to feel the whole spine engaging and moving and opening. Using your core muscles even here. So you're not just totally relaxing the belly and letting things hang out. Kind of drawing them toward the midline and getting in touch with your deep inner core muscles. Tuck your toes and stretch your hips back to downward facing dog. Then inhale, ripple forward. And exhale, bend your knees, arch your spine, stretch back nice and long. And just keep the rhythm moving with your breath. Really feeling that undulation, wave-like movement of the spine. The next time you're in down dog, come up onto your toes, lift your left leg up. So from your inner thigh, from the hamstring, not from the hip. So first just lift the inner thigh, stretch back to your foot. And then stack your hips parallel to the hips. You've got to engage the right glute so that your knee doesn't twist in. So you want your knee to stay open. And just rotate the hips back and forth. Try and keep your weight back away from your hands. It'll feel better on your wrists. Then come back to parallel square. Bend your knee, hug your knee to your chest, bring your knee forward, and tap as high in your arm as you can. Inhale, stretch it back. Exhale, we're going to hug the knee in, and this time we're going to twist. So bring your left knee across to your right arm. Keep your foot high. It's not so easy. Stretch it back. Bend your knee. Open up your hips. We're going to come right into Wild Thing. So let your right foot pivot. Slowly lower your left foot to the floor behind you. Press into the whole sole of your right foot as much as you can and open your heart. Stretch along through your fingers to your toes. And bring your hands back down. Come back to your downward facing dog. You can rest for a few breaths in your down dog. And we'll do the same thing with the right leg. So from the inner thigh, lift up, squaring the hips so there's not a turnout yet. So if you look back at your toes, it should be pointing towards the ground. And then start to open the hips. It's almost like opening the pages of a book. The hips are parallel, and then they're vertically stacked. Let's go back and forth, feeling that movement coming from the hip joint. And then bend your knee, stretch it way back. Start to shift the weight more into your left hand as you pivot on your left foot. Letting your right foot touch the floor. Open up wildly. And come back onto your hands and knees. I can't remember if we did these knee taps, so let's do that. We did. So stretch your right leg up, and then exhale. Bring your knee forward and tap. Inhale, stretch it back. You know, we all make mistakes. Even exhale, hug it in, and reach it across. Inhale, stretch it back. Exhale, lower your leg down. And bend your knees and pivot both feet to the right, and just a little knee bend and release. And then pivot to the other side, and then straighten. And back through center. Inhale, reach your right leg up. So when you step forward, if you come up onto your fingertips, it gives you more space. You can more easily step your foot forward. If you want to start challenging yourself, try keeping your hand down, the palm of your hand down, and then lift up as high as you can. Keep pulling that knee up as you bring your shoulders forward. And see if you can step your foot without lifting your hand. That's if you want to play with that. So crescent lunge first. Bring your knee right over your ankle. Squeeze your inner thighs. Lift your chest forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring the palms together and twist over to your right, bringing your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Press your palms together, twist from your core. Maybe gaze up. And think of lengthening, elongating from your tailbone out to the crown of your head. And release. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back, down dog. Nice long stretch. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Keep that lift, 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 lift. Lower down. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart. If they're in line, it's more like walking a tightrope. It's a lot harder. So keep them hip distance apart. Engage, press into your right foot. Reach out through your back heel, lift your belly. Inhale, rise up. Breathe up, letting the breath lift you higher. And bring your palms together. Squeeze your ribs back towards your back body so they're closer together. And then begin to twist. Bending your elbows. Bring your right elbow to the outside of your left leg. Keep both legs strong and twist from your core. Maybe gaze up. And then inhale. Slowly come back. Reach your arms up. And exhale, downward facing dog. And then pedal the legs out, one leg at a time. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, step it all the way forward. So pivot on your feet. Turn both toes to the right, lower your left hip down, lean into your left arm. Take the left shoulder back, reach the right arm towards your foot, and then inhale, reach up, and exhale, lower. Inhale, reach up. This time we're gonna pivot. So lower your hand, pivot on your feet, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. And then bend one knee at a time. Come back to neutral, pivot your left foot forward. Come onto your right hand, turn both feet to the left, lower your left hips. Your right hips down. Reach your left arm towards your left foot, and then inhale. Lift up. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. We're going to pivot on our feet again, back into that wide-legged straddle. Walk both hands over to your left side. Press your fingertips forward, nice stretch through your hips. And walk your hands back around, other side. Same thing here. Walk your hands back around, pivot on your feet, and step back, downward facing dog. So we'll do one last pose, standing anyway, or we're going to come into Pigeon Prep. So inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, open the hips. Inhale, bring your right knee forward. Bring your knee to the outside of your right wrist. Foot to the floor, lower your knee to the floor. Your front foot can be flexed or pointed. Start to walk your back leg back and squeeze your inner thighs together. So try not to let your hips sink and be at a diagonal, but try and parallel the hips as much as you can. Bring your hands back. You could always be using blocks here. You really want to squeeze your legs together to protect your low back. Keeping the legs active, keeping the belly pulled in. If it feels safe for your back, you can reach your arms up. Maybe even interlace your fingers, stretch your heart forward. And then bring your hands to the floor. Start to walk forward. You can rest your forehead on your hands. You can stretch your arms forward, like down dog arms. And you could bring your hand up to the side, elbows in the air. So whatever feels good for you. We'll just stay here for a few more breaths. Think of trying to pull your right hip, that front hip, back a little bit towards your feet, letting the left hip come a little bit forward. So that's squaring the pelvis. And you can kind of go in and out of that a little bit, just to feel the difference. Make sure to keep your front foot active to protect your knee. And if you feel any knee pain at any time, you definitely want to come out of the pose. And you can walk your hands back. Place your hands on the floor, lift your back knee up, and step back, down dog. And do the same thing on the left side. So inhale, reach the left leg up. Exhale, pull your knee forward, bring your knee to the outside of your left wrist, lower your foot to the floor, knee to the floor. I usually have to walk my back leg back. You want to feel a stretch on this hip flexor and then square the hips. So this back hip comes a little bit forward, the front hip goes a little bit back. And then engage your legs. Don't just like rest with no engagement. Hug in so you feel a tall lift to protect your back. Reach your arms up. Interlace your fingers maybe with the opposite finger in front, and then lift your heart up toward the sky. Keep the legs strong. Lower your hands back down, walk them forward. Rest your head, rest your arms, however it feels good for you. And you can do little pulsing movements, like trying to pull the front hip back and let the back hip come forward. So left hip back, right hip forward. And then relax it a little bit. And go back and forth. Just feeling the difference. So much of it is like learning to listen inside and feel the more subtle differences instead of just thinking a pose has one shape. It's like there's so much room to explore every pose. Keep the Legs strong and active. Like not overactive, but somewhat engaged to protect your knee. And let the upper body soften to balance out the effort of the lower body. Every time I do this stretch, I feel it in my hips. It's like, it's never like, oh, my hips are open, like this feels like nothing. It's like always, there's a sensation that I kind of wade in and out of. Then walk your hands back. Place your hands, lift your back knee, step back to down dog. Walk your feet forward. If you want to play with keeping your feet together, sinking your hips, and seeing if you can come into a little ball, bringing your hips as close to your heel as you can, and lowering down as slowly as you can. So instead of a plop, it's kind of like you're settling in. And then start to roll down through your back, keeping your chin tucked, hug your knees into your chest, gently rock around in circles. And hold the back of your thighs, bring your knees wider than your ribs, so they kind of nestle along the ribs. So if you can bring your feet straight up toward the sky. So happy baby is butt on the floor, shoulders on the floor. And then if you can easily reach your feet. Otherwise, hold your ankles or stay holding the back of your thighs so your back flat on the floor. And just gently rock in your happy baby. It's important to be happy. Yeah, then release your feet. Lower your feet to the floor as wide as your mat. Bring your arms out to the side and just gently windshield walk. Windshield wiper both knees to the right. Now if you pull back, like draw your belly towards your spine and stretch your knee forward to get a little extra stretch on this top leg. Inhale back to center, exhale, other side, same thing. Draw your belly toward your spine, stretch your right knee forward. And then it's up to you. You can go back and forth slowly several times. You could stay on one side, working the quad stretch of the top leg. Whatever is feeling right for you today, whatever would make you wind down, be able to have a very sweet Savasana. So let's do one bridge pose before Savasana. So bring your feet in close to your hips, arms by your side. Lift and spread your toes to engage the legs. Press your feet into the floor, relax the toes. Pull your belly toward your spine. Press the back of your shoulders into the floor. So there's this connection to the floor. It's not a rounding up. So no space here. And then inhale, press into your feet. Lift up through your hips and even up through the back of your heart. Squeeze your knees toward each other. Keep your chin slightly lifted. And exhale, slowly lower down. So I did that one while reaching my arms out. It just kind of happened. So this time, let's keep the arms down. Lift up again. This time, walk your shoulders in towards each other. Interlace your fingers. Keep your legs strongly hugging in towards each other. Use your glutes, so contract the glutes a little bit. Not too much, just enough that you can lift higher. Open up through the back of your heart. And by pressing your arms into the floor, it'll help you lift a little higher. Keep your belly pulling back towards your spine. Release your hands, let the shoulders spread out, and slowly trying to lower the upper back and the middle back and the low back, and the hips come down at the very last moment. And then give yourself one more hug. Maybe really get tight if you want. Hug into as tiny a ball as you can. And stretch your legs out for Savasana. Arms out to the side, palms facing up. Maybe lift the shoulders, stretch out the back a little bit. Maybe wiggle everything. And just see, there's an art to letting go completely. And we want to think that we have control. We want to think if we try harder, we'll be smarter, we'll be stronger. And to a certain extent, that's true. But to a certain extent, we have to be willing to let go, to realize that we're not going to know everything. We can't control everything. We might not be as strong as we think we want to be. But as long as we're honest with ourselves as long as we trust, then we're just where we need to be. Maybe it's patience we need to learn. Maybe it's softness we need to learn. Maybe it's just letting go. So you can stay here as long as you like, exuridating in the breath, feeling the breath wash over you like a gentle breeze. And continue to let the process of softening and letting go unfold. Namaste.